There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC interview, which aired hours after he lost his appeal for a taxpayer-funded UK. It was obvious something was brewing the moment whispers started echoing through Westminster. At first it felt like just another headline, one more bump in the long, messy saga of Prince Harry versus the Crown. But then came the petition. Not some viral outrage on Twitter, not a celebrity protest, a formal motion inside the House of Lords. A direct strike from the very heart of Britain's political elite.
More drama in the very public spat between the British royal family and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The couple have lost their UK home after being evicted by King Charles. CNN's Max Foster reports.
This story's been bubbling up all week, ever since the Sun newspaper headlined that Harry and Meghan are being evicted from Frogmore Cottage, a decision apparently made by the King after Harry published his memoir. Prince Andrew, according to The Sun, has been offered Frogmore instead. This was a cottage gifted to Harry and Meghan by the Queen. They had spent nearly $3 million renovating it, but in future they won't be able to stay in it when they come to the UK or benefit from the security that comes with it. The palace aren't saying anything about this, only a royal source telling CNN that this is a private family matter, but Harry and Meghan have confirmed to CNN that it has been requested that they vacate the residence. We'll have to see whether or not they come over to the UK in May for the King's coronation.
This time, it's not just about scandal or reputation. It's about stripping Harry of the one thing he still clings to, his royal title. And if you think this is just symbolic, think again. This is about legacy. This is about power. This is about whether someone who's chosen to burn every bridge behind him still gets to wear the badge of the very institution he abandoned. It's not a family dispute anymore. It's a constitutional reckoning.
Thank you, Liz. I mean, this is a fascinating insight, isn't it? What more can you tell us about this intervention?
Good morning, Sean. Yes, absolutely fascinating, this. The claims have been published in a memoir which is due to come out on the 10th of October. Mr. Johnson's memoir called Unleashed. And there are extracts which are published in the Mail today. Now, we understand that in January 2020, both Buckingham Palace and Number 10 Downing Street spoke to Mr. Johnson and said he might be able to convince Prince Harry to stay in the UK rather than leaving his royal duties. Now, we understand that the meeting between Boris Johnson and Prince Harry took place at the Docklands in London at a UK-Africa investment summit. And the former Prime Minister writes, there was a ridiculous business where they made me try to persuade Harry to stay, kind of manly pep talk.
Now the country that once adored him, the boy who walked behind his mother's coffin, the prince who served in Afghanistan, is watching him get dismantled piece by piece, not by palace aides or tabloid editors, but by Parliament itself. What started as a royal departure has spiralled into a full-blown crisis of identity, duty and loyalty. And the stakes, they couldn't be higher. Because if this petition goes through, Harry won't just lose a title, he'll lose the last thread connecting him to the monarchy that made him. So, buckle up, because what we're about to unpack isn't just royal drama. It's history in the making, and it's getting brutal fast. The British House of Lords, the literal backbone of royal tradition and political formality, has launched a formal petition to strip Prince Harry of his Duke of Sussex title. Not just some social media campaign or angry public rant.
Now, a staggering 2/3 of Brits are calling for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their HRH titles. A new poll by Find Out Now has revealed that most of the public is supporting the King in this family feud, ongoing family feud, after Harry's bombshell BBC interview. It follows the Court of Appeal's decision to not overturn the ruling on his security in the UK.
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
In response to Prince Harry's allegations, Buckingham Palace have actually released a statement, which is very unusual, to be fair. All of these issues have been examined repeatedly and meticulously by the courts, with the same conclusion reached on each occasion. OK, well...
This is a full-blown institutional move, and it's coming from the top. Conservative peers, seasoned crossbenchers, lawmakers who don't just dabble in drama, they shape history. What blew me away is how serious this is. It's not symbolic, it's not a stunt. These are the same halls that have dealt with royal crises for centuries, and now they're targeting Harry like he's a rogue agent of the crown.
Prince William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles. Riley Sullivan is a lifestyle reporter here at skynews.com.au, and he's always across the latest celebrity headlines. Riley, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Prince William, he's reportedly furious after it emerged that Meghan Markle is still using her HRH title despite agreeing to drop the title when the Sussexes left royal duties. How is Will planning to deal with this?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I think Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH.
There's fury in the air, but also precision, like a chess move that's been waiting in the shadows for just the right moment. And here's the twist. Harry is reportedly seething, not annoyed, not defensive, he's absolutely livid. Because if there's one thing he's clung to since ditching royal duties and jetting off to California, it's that title. His title as the Duke of Sussex gives him weight in boardrooms, media and Hollywood. This is the first domino in what could be the total dismantling of Harry's royal identity. And watching Parliament gear up like this, it feels like the establishment is finally ready to shut the door on the prodigal prince for good. This isn't just one chamber's crusade. It's becoming a national reckoning. The petition exploded with tens of thousands of public signatures within days. According to reports, people from every corner of the UK, from Sussex to Scotland, are adding their names to what now feels like a movement. And the Parliament, they're not just watching, they're acting. Members from both the Lords and the Commons are stepping in, not just to co-sign, but to push the initiative forward. That's when it hit me. This isn't symbolic anymore. It has teeth, real constitutional teeth. They're invoking the titles. Deprivation Act of 1917, a law last used during World War I to strip royals of their titles for siding with enemy nations. And now they're arguing Harry's betrayal might not be military treason, but it's damn well close in spirit. You can feel the temperature rising, like the country's fed up with watching someone trash the crown and cash in on its name at the same time. This isn't just a formal rebuke, it's a systematic dismantling of Harry's last real claim to aristocracy. What started as public anger is becoming political action, and once Parliament aligns with public sentiment like this, history tells us there's no turning back. A source close to the royal family revealed that the late Queen was so fearful of Harry and Meghan that she wouldn't want to be alone with them. Now here's where things take a sharp turn. Harry didn't just leave the UK to live a quieter life. He got loud, too loud, especially on American soil. And we are not talking about interviews or gossip. We are talking about politics. British royalty is supposed to remain neutral, but Harry has been out here slamming the First Amendment, aligning with partisan groups, and backing causes that go directly against the values of the institution that gave him his title in the first place. Now lawmakers are calling it title laundering, using the prestige of royalty to legitimize political messaging in another country. That's not just bad optics, that's a constitutional problem. Royals don't dabble in American election cycles or hot-button cultural issues. And yet here he is doing exactly that, while still parading around as the Duke of Sussex. And it's not just whispers anymore. British MPs are openly questioning why a foreign duke is meddling in US politics. It's not just inappropriate, it's dangerous. Because if royal titles can be used to push ideology abroad, the whole system crumbles. Harry might have thought he was speaking freely, but Parliament heard it as a warning shot. And now they're firing back with laws, with history, and with fury. That means they will no longer receive public funds and they will stop using their royal titles. Those changes will take effect this spring. But if there's one consistent thread in Harry's post-royal life, it's his obsession with dragging the monarchy. From the bombshell Oprah interview to that Netflix documentary series and then the memoir Spare, it's like he's made a career out of airing the family's darkest moments. And you know what? At first people were curious. They leaned in. But now even his sympathizers are starting to recoil. He's thrown everyone under the bus. His father, his brother, his stepmother, even the late Queen. That's not healing. That's scorched earth. And Parliament's finally saying what a lot of us have been thinking. You can't torch the house and still expect to keep the keys. It's become clear that Harry's using his title as a shield, something to keep the royal shine while hurling insults from the safety of Montecito. But that doesn't fly anymore. These public attacks have pushed him into what MPs are calling symbolic treason. Not illegal, but deeply offensive to the very institution his title represents. The monarchy stood silent for years. But this move from Parliament is them finally raising their voice.
Well, let's do a happy story. Let's do something that really thrills me and cheers me up. Now, of course, we know we must never, ever criticise. Never, ever criticise Meghan and Harry. That's a terrible mistake. And if you're Jeremy Clarkson and you write something rude about them in the Sun newspaper, even when you've apologised, you find announced last night that he will not be doing, after the next one, any more series of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. No. If you criticise this couple, you get in trouble, because they seem to have quite deep support in the liberal media establishment. But anybody that watches this show regularly or listens to it will know I think their behaviour has been absolutely disrespectful to our late Queen and despicable towards his own brother and indeed his father, who of course is now King Charles III. They moan like crazy, didn't they, about being put into Nottingham Cottage after they were first married. It was so small. Oh, American stars coming to visit them couldn't believe the terrible conditions they were being forced to live in. Oprah Winfrey said, it's so small. Gosh, I'm sure you're all really pitying them living there. But the Queen came to the rescue and gave them Frogmore Cottage. Now, Frogmore Cottage are 5 houses knocked into one, and £2.4 million was spent for the Duke and Duchess of Suffolk to have it decorated to their heart's desire. So really, they've been having their cake and eating it, because they've been living on the west coast of America, making vast amounts.
Well, people are talking about it being a constitutional crisis, which might be stretching the issue too far. Harry slipped down from being the spare to the heir to the sick in life. Let's be real. Frankly, Harry's image in the UK is in freefall. The latest polls show 62% of Britons support stripping him of his title. And among Conservative and older voters, that number jumps to over 70%. Even Labour supporters, who might typically be more sympathetic, say he's gone too far. And then there's the grassroots response. People in Sussex, his own dukedom, are signing the petition in droves. One pensioner said, "He doesn't represent us anymore. He represents himself." That quote stuck with many because it sums up everything. Harry might still be a celebrity in the States, but back home people feel betrayed, not because he left, but because he left and still profits off the name. You can't play both sides forever, and now even his supposed base has turned. Public opinion hasn't just shifted, it's collapsed. This isn't about one scandal. It's about the cumulative weight of years of grievances, interviews and media tours. The British people are saying it out loud. You left, you bashed us, and now we're done with you. Parliament isn't acting in a vacuum. They're reflecting a sentiment that's already roaring through the streets.
Good evening, everyone, and hello, New York. Obviously, I was deeply honoured when Bob asked me to debut my stand-up act with you all tonight. I was so relieved to be invited back, but then I started to question whether his invite for me to actually do stand-up was in fact his idea of a joke. Either way, due to the shockingly low representation of gingers last year, and out of respect for my fellow endangered species, here I am, reporting for duty. Now, you're probably thinking, please God, don't let him drink beer out of a prosthetic limb again, or make some inappropriate joke that only the military amongst us would get. Well, I assure you there's no need to worry, because I was born for this. As someone who never gets scrutinised, I haven't even had to prepare much. But out of an abundance of caution, I have been working on this particular act for quite some time, and everyone I know tells me it's perfect. And no.
Well, here's where things get ugly. Harry and Meghan didn't just walk away from royal life. They monetised it, and heavily. Every deal they've signed, including Netflix, Spotify, and even children's books, has leaned on their royal branding. It's not Harry and Meghan, private citizens. It's the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, splashed across press releases, opening credits, and podcast intro. That's not subtle, that's brand strategy, and the UK isn't having it. Critics are calling it title trafficking, using inherited prestige to sell stories, merch, and public image, while pretending to be normal. Even their kids are being packaged with royal titles. And yet, they talk about privacy and stepping back. The contradiction is loud and people are listening. This wasn't a quiet exit, it was a business move. And now Parliament's stepping in to say, you want the money and the fame, then drop the royal mask. Because, in the UK, titles aren't clickbait. They're supposed to mean something. And Harry's turned this into a marketing gimmick. If you enjoyed this royal firestorm, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating royal discussions.